This video is going to demonstrate the process of creating a purchase order using Infor's netlink application. Remember, netlink is a browser-based interface to accessing Infor XA. To launch netlink, you simply click on the icon for netlink. Brings up the sign-on dialog box where you put your username and profile. Once you press enter, the main screen will come up with the tabs on the left hand side here. To go into purchasing, you go into procurement. To open up a purchase order or to create a purchase order, click on the purchase order icon. This is going to list all the purchase orders in the system. To create a purchase order, we use this icon right here, which is the create icon. It looks like sort of like a piece of paper. That brings up this dialog box, which by default will have a purchase order number in it. You need to populate the buyer number if it's not there. If you put a value here, it'll be incorporated into the name of the buyer. I'm going to leave it blank so I got all the buyers. I'll select my test buyer. Vendor, I'm going to use Golden State again. I type the name or part of the name. This time we're just going to type gold. And we still only have two vendors that have gold in the name. And we need to select a warehouse. From this point we hit create, and the default purchase order creation window will open. I recommend that you switch to this default right here, which gives you a little bit more information and a little bit more user friendly in my opinion. Once again, it shows you the header information right here, the buyer, the date, the purchase order number. This area here is going to show you the ship to, in other words, where the vendor is going to ship the product to. The bill to, who they're going to send the bill to address, and the vendor's address itself. On this section of the screen, we can add comments. We can use freehand comments by clicking on this icon, or we can use canned comments by clicking on this icon. Using the magnifying glass, it'll list all the comments that are in the system. We select one, say commit, and then create, and it'll populate that value right in here, whatever it is. There's our comment. We could add if we want before or after. This area is where we enter our part numbers that we want to purchase. Use the create button. In the item, we're going to use the magnifying glass. Click right there, and we're going to type in this case UV7. I'm going to buy a UV7 casting, I hope. Hit continue, it'll display all the items that have UV7 in the name. I select the UV7 body casting right here. Need to enter the quantity. I don't want 1,000, I want to change that. You need to supply a delivery date. It must be a date in the future. You can use the calendar function and just pick a date. It has to be a real date. You can't use I don't think you can use a Sunday. Let's find out for sure. In a second we'll find out. And the unit price is going to be $91. Create. Yeah, it's not a valid weekday, so it's going to fail. We need to make sure the date we pick here is a valid calendar date, like one day through the week. Now we hit create. is it gives us a chance to go through each of the different areas of the item we're ordering. If we're satisfied with what we see, we hit create. That line item will be added to the purchase order right here. There it is. At this point, we could print the purchase order, etc., or whatever, or add more items. But we're going to go ahead and create the order. If we need to print the purchase order, we need to select that purchase order. So we'll hit the magnifying glass, and it was P1. We just got to get close. There's the one we just entered. If we want to print it, we got to highlight it. Go to host print and click. The dialog box will open up. I hope. This dialog box will open. We click on the print to tell it to print, and then we hit submit. That'll print the purchase order. At this point, we're done entering the purchase order. To go back to our main screen, we click on the home button, and don't forget to log out. The proper way to log out is to click on File, Log Out.